Hi, welcome back. We're doing chapter 28, The Unexpected Goodbye, and this is the third to final chapter for our story. Alex barely slept for 2 weeks that she was trapped in the world of King Arthur. Each day she was separated from her brother, her friends in the fairy tale world, the more she worried about them. The few hours she managed to doze off were only filled with nightmares of the same worries. She couldn't get the image of innocent people screaming and running for their lives as a flying Jolly Roger destroyed their homes out of her mind. It was a complete blessing that she had Arthur to distract her. Otherwise, her helplessness may have driven Alex insane. In fact, the time she spent with him felt like a 2-week-long dream. And like all good dreams, Alex didn't want to wake up from it. The more time they spent together, the more they enjoyed each other's company. Alex felt closer to Arthur after just 2 weeks than anyone else she had ever known. After every kiss, affectionate glance, and loaded smile, Alex felt the need to remind Arthur that she would be leaving soon, but nothing could stop their growing attachment. There were times when Alex daydreamed about staying in Arthur's world. What if she pretended the fairy tale world and the other world didn't exist? Could the fairy tale world defeat her uncle's army without her? Could she live with the guilt of abandoning her friends and family? Alex was ashamed to even think about it. She knew it wasn't a possibility. They spent every night together on the hill as the potion soaked up the moonlight. Usually they fell asleep apart, but by morning awoke in each other's arms. However, on the night before her departure, Arthur wasn't shy about cozying up next to her. "You know I'm leaving tomorrow," Alex said. "I know," Arthur said, "but I'm going to pretend tonight lasts forever." "Forever sounds nice," she said. It was the first night she didn't have nightmares. Instead, the dream she lived during the day continued through the night as she slept. The morning arrived much sooner than she was expecting. Alex awoke and realized Arthur wasn't laying beside her. She sat up and looked around the hill, but there was no sign of him. "Arthur," Alex called, but there was no answer. She gathered the potion and searched the woods nearby, but couldn't find him anywhere. Alex found it very odd that Arthur would leave her on the hill alone. She headed back to Merlin's cottage with hopes of finding him there. Mother Goose and Lester were the only ones at the cottage when she arrived. "Morning," Mother Goose said. "Is the potion ready?" "It should be after a zap of magic," Alex said. "Have you seen Arthur? I can't find him." "Merlin took him to the woods earlier for another lesson," she said, "but I'm glad I caught you alone. I have something to tell you." Mother Goose had a seat at the table and gestured for Alex to sit with her. Whatever it was, it must be serious. "What's wrong?" Alex asked. Mother Goose took a deep breath and let it out. "I'm not going back to the fairy tale world with you," she said. "I'm staying in this world with Merlin." It was the very last thing Alex expected to hear. She was practically whiplashed by the news. "What?" Alex said. "Mother Goose, you can't stay here." "I've got to follow my heart on this one, kiddo," Mother Goose said. "It's taken me centuries to find a place I belong. It's not the other world. It's not the fairy palace. It's not the giant's castle. It's right here with Merlin." "I think this is very impulsive," Alex said. "I know you've been lonely since Grandmother died, but you shouldn't uproot to another dimension to be with someone you met 2 weeks ago." Mother Goose chuckled. "You know what's funny? That's the exact answer I was expecting to give you if you wanted to stay here with Arthur. I prepared a long list of reasons why it would be a bad idea. You can't stay. People are depending on you. You have your whole life ahead of you. Then I realized that none of those things applied to me. So why wasn't I staying?" "That isn't true," Alex said. "My brother and I both need you. We need your help stopping our uncle's army." "Having an old lady tagging along isn't going to help," Mother Goose said. "I'm good for a wisecrack now and then, but I can't defeat your uncle or his army. Only you and your brother can do that. The minute you need me, I'll be there in a flash." "Are you sure this is what you want?" Alex asked. "You were just telling me you wanted a new adventure. This sounds like you're settling down." "Merlin is my next adventure," she said. "I've never known someone who makes me excited just to wake up in the morning. I don't look at the world and feel useless anymore because I know I mean the world to him. He's lived as long as I have, made just as many mistakes, and still has all his original teeth. I'm never going to find another man like him. I probably sound like an old loon, but one day you'll understand. When you meet the person you're meant to be with, everything changes. You don't feel like you're fighting the world alone anymore." Everything she described is exactly how Alex felt about Arthur. Perhaps Alex didn't want to have to wait until she was older to understand. She would have given anything to have the option of staying. As difficult as it would be to live without her, she could see in Mother Goose's eyes that she had finally found contentment. Any reason Alex had to argue with her decision was purely selfish. "What about Lester?" Alex asked. "I want you to take him," Mother Goose said. I love him like he hatched from an egg I laid myself, but I drive him crazy. I've already talked to him, and he agrees it's for the best. You'll be good for each other." "I can't say I'm happy about this," Alex said, "but I am happy for you." "Thanks, kiddo," Mother Goose said. "I'm happy too. Very happy." Alex held her hand and smiled. Merlin entered the cottage and kissed Mother Goose's cheek, but he was alone. "Good morning, ladies," he said. "Where's Arthur?" Alex asked. Merlin had a seat and let out a heavy sigh. "Arthur had asked me to send you his best wishes, but he won't be joining us this morning. He said goodbye would be too difficult." "Oh," Alex said quietly. It broke her heart a little knowing she wouldn't get a proper goodbye, but she couldn't blame him. "Well, in that case I should finish the potion and go home." Alex placed the potion in the center of the table. She pointed to it, and a bright flash of light shot out of the tip of her finger and into the cauldron. The potion bubbled for a few moments and turned blue, the same shade as the bottle her uncle had stolen. The portal potion was finally finished. "Here, put the potion in this," Mother Goose said, and handed Alex the flask she kept in her bonnet. "It'll be something to remember me by." Alex carefully transferred the potion into the flask. She put the page from the Wonderful Wizard of Oz on the floor and poured 3 drops of potion onto it. The page lit up like a spotlight, and a beam of light shined toward the ceiling. Alex gave Merlin and Mother Goose a hug goodbye. It was difficult letting her go. "This is it," Alex said. "Oz, here I come." She edged toward the beam, but stopped just before she stepped inside. She was paralyzed. "What's wrong, Alex?" Mother Goose said. "Is there something wrong with the potion?" "No, there's something wrong with me," Alex said. "I can't leave without saying goodbye to Arthur. I'm going to find him." Before Mother Goose or Merlin could respond, Alex dashed off to out of the cottage and headed into the woods. As if her heart were a magnet being pulled to his, she ran through the trees, knowing exactly where to find him. She stepped into the clearing he took her to the day they met, and Alex found Arthur sitting by the sword and the stone. Arthur was shocked to see her. He expected she would be gone by now. His face lit up once he saw her, and they stared at each other in silence while Alex caught her breath. "You're still here," Arthur said. "Did you really think I would leave without saying goodbye?" Alex said. Arthur shrugged. "I was hoping if I didn't say it, it wouldn't be true." "I wish it weren't," Alex said. "Believe me." Arthur got to his feet and stood as close to her as he could without touching. "Let me go with you," he said desperately. "Arthur, you know I can't," Alex said. "We both have our separate destinies to live. The people of this country need you. I'm not your future. England is." "If you believe that, then why did you find me here?" Arthur said. "Why not just leave and forget about me?" "I couldn't leave without seeing your face again." Arthur smiled. "Because you know in your heart we belong together?" "No, because I know in my heart you are meant to be king and I will only distract you," she said. "If you won't say goodbye, then I will. I don't want you spending your life waiting for me to return. You are meant to do great things and I won't keep you from them." "I don't think I am," he said quietly. "I'll be worthless without you." "You won't be without me," Alex said. "I'll be reading every page of your story and I'll be with you every step of the way. When you pulled the sword from the stone, when you establish Camelot, when you create the Round Table, when you search for the Holy Grail, I'll be there and I'll know you're doing all of it for me." "But what if we're in your story?" Arthur asked. "Perhaps this is all just a chapter in a book about you. Maybe someone is reading it right now in a world far away, and they know you're making a mistake. You said yourself that there are versions of me, so let this version of me be with you. Let another Arthur somewhere else fulfill the legend." "But I always feel like I'm doing something wrong," Alex said. "Maybe after you've completed your story and I've completed mine, we can have a happy ending. But there are several chapters ahead of us. Goodbye, Arthur. I'll always treasure our time together." Alex turned away from him, but he quickly grabbed her hand. "I know I'm more than just a story to you," Arthur said, "and I have proof. The lock and key I gave you for the potion was from my door. It won't work unless you cared about me." Alex didn't know what to say, so she said nothing. She pulled her hand out of his and left the clearing. As Alex walked away, she realized leaving Arthur was the hardest thing she would ever have to do. It was worse than defeating the Enchantress, battling the Grand Army, and chasing her uncle through literary dimensions. This time, Alex was fighting her heart. Connor's final days in Nottingham were utterly exhausting. He and the Merry Men, with the help of the Tin Woodman and Peter, searched every corner of Sherwood Forest for someone with magical capability. Their candidates were scarce, and very much like the Witch of Pappelnick, They all proved to be misunderstood or just total frauds. After they searched for 2 long weeks, the portal potion had soaked up all the moonlight it required. It just needed one final ingredient to be complete. Everything depended on Connor now. Only he could successfully activate the potion by accessing the magic inside of him. He just wished he knew how to do it. Little John and Peter brought the potion down from the treetops and set it in the middle of camp. Connor nervously paced in front of it and bit his nails. He had no idea how he was going to pull it off. All the men gathered around and watched him think it over. "Well, are you going to do it?" the Tin Woodman asked. "Does it look like I have a choice?" Connor said. How are you going to do it?" Peter asked. "That's what I'm trying to figure out," he asked. "The sorcerer is frustrated," Robin Hood announced. "Can you guys just all look away for a second?" Connor said. "I can't concentrate when I'm being watched." The men did as he requested, but still glanced over their shoulders now and then when he wasn't looking. They didn't want to miss anything. Connor closed his eyes and tried to find the magic within, but he didn't know where to look. His sister always said magic was in his heart, but the girls usually referred to their hearts when they were talking about everything. Maybe Connor's magic existed in his head or his stomach. His left knee hurt a little today. Was that where his magic was? What was magic supposed to feel like anyway? Was it a physical or an emotional sensation? Was it like a parasite crawling inside of him, or like the sadness that crept up whenever he saw a dog die in a movie? Everything always came easily for Alex, and magic was no exception. He wished it were like telling a joke or writing a story. Those were things Connor was good at. "Wait, maybe that's it," he said to himself. "Maybe magic is different for everyone. Maybe it's what you want it to be. I mean, it is magic after all." Connor tried summoning his magic like he summoned his creativity. It started in his imagination, not his heart. He visualized magic as an idea for a new story. He let it excite him, inspire him, and flow through his body until it was ready to be expressed. "Here goes nothing," he said. "I apologize if this ends horribly." The merry men, the Tin Woodman, and Peter all braced themselves as Connor took a deep breath and pointed his finger at the potion. And that's the end of chapter 28. The next chapter is called chapter 29, Another Moon, Another Midnight. I'll see you guys then. Bye.